spaz. So come on, it said it wouldn't go through, and then it says it's recording, but it's not recording. So it's a thing. We'll see. I just want to make sure it says that I am before I get started, because I created a couple more slides so you guys would have. There we go. Now it's redirected and good. Ta-da. And we're good. Okay. So I created a couple more slides so you guys would have the actual foundation, and I double checked on my original compounding sheet so you guys would have all that too. So keynote intro slides, we're going to start with this. So again, if you guys are been around for a while and you don't want to listen to the super basic, or you're going to super be a little antsy that I don't call out a trade when one's probably going to happen, don't fuss, don't worry, go ahead and you can hop off. You can go, you can feel more than welcome to, drop a trade in the chat or a trade in the group and say, you don't even have to claim it as your own or claim it as a signal. You can just simply say, hey, the rules are being met on German 30. It's looking like a sell. Hey, the rules are being met on GBP USD. Hey, we're looking for a buy. And anything like that is totally fine. But today I'm kind of slowing down, letting a couple of the new people really catch up and get a chance to be one of those success stories that maybe just made $18,000 or just had their first withdrawal after 2 years of failing in trading. I got a beautiful message like that this weekend, and it was kind of awesome. Just all kinds of stuff. So if that's not for you, that's okay. But no hard feelings to me if I slow down and do this. So first and foremost, guys, welcome to the advanced membership group. I know that Pat has decided to open this group up to the public and allow other people to join, which means they get access to signals. They get access to Elvis's way of trading. And I believe that Uncle P is going to be giving more signals. And from what I understand, the signals are going super, super, super amazingly well. So I haven't been taking them myself, but the success rate for a while now, don't quote me on how long, has been really good. So that'll give you a chance to see how other people are using Simplicity or the scanner. And then of course, this side of things, which you guys already heard Scott, he kind of stepped up and volunteered to be the I'm going to call him the Jenny decoder. So he decoded all my stuff and made something that was tangible and put it on a screen with, my brain a little bit, but in computer language that actually works. So turned out to be some of the best indicators. And then since then, he's building his own stuff as well. I'm talking genius level stuff. So you guys will get a chance to be part of all of that as we grow. Now, keep in mind my little disclaimer before we continue any further. Obviously, everything we discuss in this group is for educational purposes only. So signals are only educational purposes. They cannot be held or used against you in the court of law. No one on here, as we discuss and as we grow, is considered your financial advisor or your attorney or your legal advice or anything of the sort. So just know that as we share trade ideas or post markups or we discuss theories, 90% of trading is theory and they're all opinionated. So just keep that in mind. And please also know this is a fast-paced group. So for some people, this might be so fast, like they're losing their mind. Now, my mindset on that is if you're not in a position or a place where you can grow, where there are people who know more than you, then you're only going to hold yourself back. So this might be fast, but if you're willing to, grab a pen and paper and pick up the 1% you can per day. Somebody's not muted. Hold on. Somebody's like groaning and moaning, and
I hope it's not Scott.
I don't know. They obviously have something going on this morning. So if you're not muted, Jeremy, Sean, I'm going to call you out. Sean, mute yourselves, please. Okay, there we go. But anyways, like I was saying, just please understand that that's okay. If you only get your 1% per day and you most things go over your head, eventually the more you hang out, the more that you listen. And we do call these hangouts for a reason, because yes, we do look for some trades, but we also hang out. The whole idea is to share life, to joke, to play, to build a relationship and that fellowship, if you will. So please just keep that in mind. This is not meant to be a singular, only one topic kind of class or group. This is meant to be well-rounded in terms of technical analysis and how about this, and really we can discuss anything. So that's what sets this aside from super easy, is that we're able to really discuss everything. So nothing's off the table in terms of different indicators, different strategies, different theories. It's all on the table here. So that is kind of overwhelming for some, but it's also very informative if you're open to it. So that's that. Moving along, this would be the typical order of operations we're looking for in terms of a class. Is we're looking for just a handful of trades. We could get more, especially if we pop down to the 1 minute chart, but especially when you're live and you've got people from all walks of life listening in. Finding trades on the 1 minute is a little bit harder and stressful for other people. So we're only looking for 2 to 3. Sometimes we could get more, but we really don't ever go over 3 or have not in a while. For the most part, we win. We do lose too. We lost last week. But that's part of trading. That kind of goes with the territory, no matter how you look at it. But these are going to be called of, hey, we're buying here, we're selling here. And unless I give a price, it is market entry, it's market execution. It's not meant to be a pending order. So it's your responsibility to manage and decide your lot size, manage your trailing stops, take profit, stop loss. Way too many variables for me to tell you. However, again, thanks to Scott, we have quite a few things built in that once you learn to program them and learn to, use them, you'll be able to have the lot size you need, risk management. You can even have a manager that kind of comes in and helps you manage your trade. So we have almost everything you need except for your ability to follow rules. I mean, already in this group. So we're kind of blessed for that. Trades again are on the 1 minute and 5 minute, very, very fast, and it's not easy to keep up. So if for a while you don't want to take them or you only want to take them in demo, that's totally fine. In general, originally we were going for 10 pips. But as we sped up and we went to more indexes, and obviously the COVID and the election really sped the market up, I think most things are double, triple, and even quadruple the average daily range that it was a year ago. We have increased the amount of pips that we're going for. And again, over time, economically and whatever else in the world, that could change. It could be less and it could be more. But in today's market, that's about what we're going for. Most of the time, you can get way more than that. And my targets on indices are about 300 pips or so, just so you know. Um, Best practice is going to be to voluntarily close your position. And you'll understand this as we go through the strategy. But if the 3 EMA crosses and closes on the opposite side of the 50, or of course, you can use the fast MACD, which you'll understand a little bit better as we go over and we look at the chart. But ultimately, you do need an exit strategy. And what we mean by that is something along the lines of a kill switch. So we know your stop loss is above structure or below structure. And obviously, that's beautiful. That's perfect, right? But if you want to have something that says, hey, I want to cut my losses short and my winners longer, and say, if these conditions are met, my trade bias, my trade idea, my signal is no longer valid, having an exit or what I would call a kill switch kind of mentality is a great idea. And there's a plethora of ones you can choose from, and we can discuss that. But ultimately, the concept of having that is it will cut your stop loss in half, or it'll cut your stop loss much smaller than it would be if you left it at the whole thing. But it's also going to limit your accuracy percentage, and that's okay, again, because if you are losing half as much, technically you could lose twice as often and still be ahead, is the concept there. um let's see, best practice. So this one is something I'm big on and I talk on all the time. If you guys treat trading like a business, like something you were starting in terms of long term, is create yourself a manageable personal budget. So I don't care if that means your YouTube membership or your your advanced group membership like this. I don't care if it means loading your account every 2 weeks or every month or every week, whatever your budget allows for. But definitely consider doing that. And why is because it takes all the stress out of, oh my gosh, did I make money? Did I hit my 6 figures? Did I become a millionaire? Did I buy my Maserati? It takes all of it out. It turns it to this, hey, this is my financial plan for this year. Yes, I can afford this. Win, lose, or draw, I don't care. I know I have the budget. I know that I can afford this. And I know that it's all in the works. So even if you have weeks where you balance out your account, hopefully you stop blowing them eventually. But even if you have weeks where you don't blow your account and you just kind of break even, it's no longer this stressful thing, and you're increasing your investment. If you have weeks where you didn't hit your goals, but you're trying and you're learning and you're following the rules and you're like in your head, since trading is mostly psychological, this takes away most of the psychological pressure and stress. So that's why I recommend that. And in terms of holding questions, as you heard at the beginning of the call, we pretty much hang out. The whole concept here is to joke. I am one person, and I am a firm believer that no man or woman is an ocean. So that means the more you guys interact, the more you chime in, the more that we have contrarian kind of conversations, meaning that I see something one way, you see something another way, or maybe you see something the same way I do, the more we evolve and grow as a group. So the more open you are, the more questions you ask, the more interactive it is. Also, the more willing you are to share. Like if you're taking losses, let's share your screen. Let's drag and drop them. Let's analyze them together, because there's no coaching that's worth more than that. There's nothing. There's nothing I can say, or I don't even think VP Morgan can say that will help you more than just simply dragging and dropping your winning and losing trades to analyze your specific behaviors to get you to the next point. So that's what I've got on that. Any comments, questions? And yes, I know I talk fast. Anybody at all in terms of that stuff? Okay, then I'm
I'll
gonna.
add one thing, Jenny.
Okay.
And it's just a reminder to everybody, especially those who are new, that the way we are setting up trades here is high risk. And that's why we talk about blowing accounts. We're not risking 1% of our account on a trade. We are kind of swinging for the fences with the idea that we're risking a small amount of money in an account and trying to grow that so that your budget is what you're willing to keep putting into that account, with the idea of trying to pull out 5, 6 figures in growth out of that, which is less possible if you're trying to risk small amounts of money.
Well, yeah, definitely. Thank you. That's a really good point, and that is a big difference. And I will touch on that too, real quick, when we get to the last slide. That this is a little different, and it doesn't mean you can't do your 1% and your wise investing. I'll say again that when I first made 6 figures in trading, I did so off of a very reasonable percentage goal. I rarely even went for 10%. Like I was really stuck at 3 and 5% per trade, which in those days meant I had to hold them longer and I had to take more of them and or stack them. So that's the very big difference in
You can
trading.
endure longer, runs of trades going against you if you're risking small amounts of money. I listened to a podcast, or I should say, re-listened to a podcast with an interview with a professional trader who takes of his trading capital, he has 90% running in a safe account, where he's taking longer term trades and is risking around, between 1 and 3% per trade. And then he takes 10% of his trading capital and runs it in a high risk strategy that generates most of his returns and occasionally blows accounts.
That's brilliant. Well, that's, as you guys know, that's kind of what I was talking about 2 years ago. Is I keep most of my bigger money in safer things. But for this, I don't mind blowing a few $100. And if I blow it, I don't like have a heart attack. I don't like, oh my gosh. Well, that's a really safe way to be. I like that. I think that's brilliant. Because most of us can mentally and emotionally process blowing a few $100. But most of us, well, depending on where you come from, I can't decide that. Maybe some of you guys grew up in the Hamptons, but like most of you will have an emotional reaction to blowing a 5, 10,000, 20,000, $50,000 account. Most of you will have an emotional reaction that does not go away at dinner that night. It will create an emotional thing inside of you. So,
For sure.
okay, but back to this. So here's the deal. We're gonna get tons of indicators. Hey Jonas, the group is starting now, so we're gonna slow things up a little bit and just go through all the steps. I'm gonna show my compounding sheet. We already missed the major drop, anyways. It happened before New York Open, anyways. So,
I think he was asking when we began this group. It was about a
oh,
year.
oh, gotcha. I'm
It's been
sorry.
about a year.
Okay. Well, see, Scott understood you. See, I didn't. Anyways, um, so a lot of people are going to ask about the indicators, and there's going to be tons of questions. First things first, guys. All indicators that are not standard on MT4 are going to be in the files group of the We the People Telegram group. So even if you don't know where something is, like just go to the files group, and I promise you, shift around a little bit, play around a little bit, download all the little things you find. Not everything is from me. There's things from all of us. That's why it's the We the People group, is that we all get to contribute and we all get to share really openly on this, in this group. So having said that, there's a few custom things that you do need and do want to try and play around with, either A, why you have access, or B, because it's like the primary part of this strategy. So definitely check that for any things that you've seen on my chart or somebody else's screenshot. Almost everything you see in the group will be in there, and if it's not and it's not coded, I promise to help you get it there, as long as, again, it's not coded and it's free. So
I do want to add one more thing as we're talking about the custom indicators, and that is that these are licensed in a way that everybody in the group has access to it. The restriction is, kind of self-imposed, and this is kind of like a group honor system. If you're sharing things outside the group, everything will get shut down. because what I'm doing is I'm counting the number of activations on different emails. And if the number of emails grows beyond the number of people in the group, everybody's out. And that means everybody.
Ooh, Scott's got the power, and I don't have that kind of technical power, just so everybody knows. I do
So,
not.
this is an honor system. And we also expect that once you leave the group that you no longer continue to use it because,
That's correct. So,
yeah.
okay, so all custom indicators are there. So that brings me to Scott's part, which he has his own little part on here. MACD version 13, I believe there's going to be another one to fix the text on the side. And Scott, I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
even
ready
message you
now.
that.
It's
Okay,
ready.
awesome. I want to see it though, because I want to show you the problems I found with it. But there will potentially be another one, and then we'll see from there. Point is, as of today's recording, we're on version 13. Now, most of these upcoming differences are just small bug things. None of them actually change the strategy or change the information. So just know that it's going to be working approximately the same as whatever we show you today in class. Now, how you get your code is simply enter your email address. Yes, you need to click DLL imports and hit OK. The code will be emailed to you. So for those people who say you haven't got one yet, super easy is not going to mail you one. You don't need to mail any of us receipts. You don't need to telegram us, your information, your mother's maiden name. We don't need any of that. We just need you to type in your own email into that indicator. And again, Scott's very effective in what he does. So everything happens automatically. If
And
by chance,
when you put your email in, don't put anything into the license code. If there's something in there, it's going to assume that you've entered a license code that's incorrect.
there you go. See, I didn't know that. But that's how you'll get that. Now, that same code, again, in honor of his efficiency, is going to work on your multiple time frame and moving average indicator. And it's also going to work on anything else Scott creates, from my understanding. And then again, the ATM manager. And we'll go over what that is just very briefly as well. So the ATM is in beta testing, as in it will eventually be for sale. That is not mine. That is not super easy. Scott has worked just endless amounts of hours in terms of creating a trade manager that does everything that you could imagine wanting it to do. So, having said that, you have a chance to really test a trade manager that is literally unlike any other on the market, and it'll enter your trades and exit. Oh, sorry, it will exit your trades based off of ATR points. You can decide based off of structure, off of MACD, and I'm not going to go into all that because that's on Scott. He's got a video, and I think he's building out the website to explain it even more. But that is well like that's next level. So if you don't understand it, just skip it or play with it. But I can't go into every single detail on it. Just know that it is, of all the things we put on our charts, having something that takes out your psychological management and your or mine. So this isn't to call you out because I'm human too, but all of your emotions and your nonsense that you go through when you trade, the thought processes and the feels and the whatabouts and the maybe babies and the well, so and so said, all that stuff happens when you're in a trade. So having something that will manage it, that is rule based and keep you in or take you out according to actual information versus human error and human feeling, is literally priceless. It's second to none. As long as you have a strategy that gets you reasonably good entries and you have rules that match that strategy to get you exits, your profitability will without a doubt increase and or if not stabilize. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Same concept for right now. It's in beta testing. I don't know for how much longer. I just know that if you type in your email address, all that stuff and everything you need to know about that will be on the website that is from Scott. And that's where I'm going to leave that. So regular indicators that you need. These are all things that come in MT4. They'll be on your phone and they come on most other trading platforms. For those of you who use other platforms, I don't know much about them. I don't use them. So you do need a 50 EMA or SMA. Totally up to you. The original strategy was created and tested with an SMA, but my eyes see the EMA better. So I favor the EMA. Again, statistically speaking, the SMA is more accurate. Just so you guys have the actual information. I just don't prefer the way it slides on the chart, and we all have our own bias. So you have that. But what I want you to know is that is our baseline indicator, meaning the beginning, middle, and end of everything we discuss is the 50 EMA. It doesn't get any more simple than that. It doesn't get any more complicated than that. Really, it's something that Wall Street used for many, many, many years. It's something that the major banks and major traders use, is the 50 EMA. So if that's what price gravitates toward, if that's what price rejects off of, bounces off of, retests, and makes decisions around, it's a really good foundation to maybe have something that, you know, is that powerful that we don't have to decide, but it's already been decided. Now we just have to go with it, right? So that is why that's our base indicator. The other things that you can get on part of MT4 are your 3 EMA, 9 EMA, average directional movement index set at 10 with levels of 25. Option levels to include our optional, wow, I can't talk, our 20 and 40. I can explain the whys of that for those of you who want to have that on your chart. And again, to honor the original strategy so people know that those arrows, because I don't want you just seeing the arrows and say, well, this gave me an arrow. What am I going to do? I want you to know what the arrows are actually telling you. So what that entire, you know, fancy version of the MACD is literally two MACDs dropped on top of each other. And then the arrows are telling you when certain conditions are met. That's all that that fancy thing is. And of course, it's got some other really awesome bells and whistles. So that is the sum parts of all you need in terms of indicators. So for those of you who are asking, there's your information. So nothing else you need. If you don't have this, please take a screenshot so you have it. This is something you can even put on your phone, and it works effectively. So you guys know. I'll give you a second to take a screenshot of that because I tend to move fast and talk fast and click around like this. So, okay. Moving along, I got that, which now goes to how to compound. So like Scott mentioned, you guys have the option to do 1 or 2%. You have the option to do 2 or 3%, 4 to 5. Anything above 5 is considered high risk. In most people's circles, anything above 5% is considered very risky. It's considered foolish. It's considered not wise. It's considered about a billion other things. So just so we're on the same page, you can do everything we're doing and you can do it safely. You can do it in the really slow and steady way, going for 1 to 2 or 3%. What we mostly talk about is not doing that. What we mostly talk about in this group is I am willing to blow this account for the purpose of 6 figures. I am willing to blow this account for the purpose of 50,000. I am willing to blow this account for the purpose of 10,000 bucks a week or whatever your level is. So what we usually do in this group and what a lot of people have done in working with me is I'm okay with losing 200 bucks a month. I will reload it as needed. I'm okay with that. My goal is 6 figures. I don't care how many times I blow it because again, $100 a week in a year is what, 5,200. $200 in a month. We can multiply that. So even if you only hit six figures once or twice, you've still obviously more than, I think that's 200%. It's more than, I don't know, I think that's more than 2,000% your investment in a year's time to kind of give you an idea of what's possible. But just know this is high risk, which means it's you're all in or you're, oh my gosh, it's done. And if you can't mentally and emotionally handle that, that's okay. No hard feelings. We're all wired a little different, but know thyself and then trade accordingly based off of who you are. Now, how to compound the 6 or 7 figures. This is what you need. So again, I recommend, it looks so simple. It looks almost elementary because it is, but take a screenshot of this and know that this is kind of the beginning, middle, and end. So you need a trading plan. You need rules for entry, exit, pip target, protection, trail, all of that stuff. It needs to be specific. Nothing can be dynamic until it is specific. So if it's all wishy-washy and you change it every time you get a feel, you will not know what works and what doesn't work. If you don't have like a list of 50 trades, like a pool of 50 trades of something you did the same way, the same time, then you have no data. So if you're just doing 50 other things all willy-nilly, never following the same thing, not sticking to one thing, managing them differently. One day you manage it because you were fussing with your wife. One day you managed it because you didn't feel like doing something. One day you managed it because you wanted to do something. Well, then that's your results aren't going to be, they're not going to tell you anything. They're just a big pool of trades that you either won or lost and mean absolutely nothing in terms of your trading career. So you have to have a specific plan. Trading
And
plan
be
should be,
honest with yourself as you make note of what you've been doing, because if you're not, your data is useless.
and this is a data game, guys. Without the data, it doesn't matter. Even if I gave you $1 million today, but you don't know how you did it, with all due respect, $1 million come, especially if you pay taxes on it, if you live in America, it doesn't last that long. It really doesn't. It's not as big of amount of money as you think. So 6 figures, but you can't duplicate it isn't worth much. 6 figures that you can do again, that's worth the world. So
And we all think millionaire is a really big deal, and consider how much inflation has devalued the dollar since that term was coined back in the turn of the last century. It's over $1 billion now.
$1 billion. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even. Yeah, it's a big difference. So it should be, your trading plan should be exclusive to one account, one strategy, and either a specific pair or a handful of pairs. There are some traders who do the same thing on multiple pairs, and I think that's valid to an extent. But if I were to test a batch of 50 trades, I'd much rather you have it on, at the max of 4 pairs. This way, because you can't get, any type of meaningful data if you have it on 27 different pairs and 10 different stocks and indices. So your numbers aren't going to be nearly as effective. So have a schedule in terms of how many entries you can take per day, per week, per hour, and how many, what times you'll trade, all that other good stuff. Less is more. A lot of times I see people, including myself, I mean, I can go do phenomenally well in 2-3 hours and then, get a wild hair, or I'm bored and it's COVID, go back to my computer and look for just that one more and give it all back. And when I say all, I mean all back. So I'm sure you guys have done that. Please know when to walk away. So have some type of a rule that says, hey, if I lose more than 30% in a day, I'm done. If I gain more than 30% in a day, I'm done. I will literally either protect and let the rest ride, or I will close and walk away. I'm not allowed to take another trade. Even if the sun and the moon align, I'm just not doing it. So those are definitely good things. Increase your lot size based off of account balance each day, trade, or week, depending on which compounding plan you're following. And of course, withdraw 5% of the gains weekly, bi-weekly, until you hit your next level up. And I'm going to talk about that on this next sheet. But I'm big on that whole psychological stuff because I feel like most of us can follow rules. Well, I mean, I don't know how accurate that is, but I feel like we have the potential to be able to
I
follow the basic
disagree.
rule.
I totally disagree. Most people are not disciplined.
Okay, but you have the ability to. So we're not
Okay,
disciplined.
yes.
But I believe you have the ability to follow the rules, but it's your emotions that are making you not use that ability. It's your feelings, it's your psychology, it's the doubt that comes in when, Joe Blow posts a trade where he just won, he got $18,000, and you're like, oh, I was in that trade. Or the person who, does this great thing or bad thing, and you get in your head and you're like, oh, but I lost that trade, or I didn't manage that trade, and you have all these feelings and stuff. So for me, I feel like we all have the ability, most of us do, to follow the rules. We just we don't execute on it. So having said that, that psychological level, whatever things we can kind of knock out of the park in terms of our mental and emotional issues, such as the feeling, I'm big on that whole withdrawal sum. I don't care if it's enough to barely buy, a cup of Starbucks coffee after fees. Withdrawal anyways, because then you get in this habit that realizes this is real money. It's not monopoly money. This is actually something you're doing. When you can actually withdraw, you see the process, you know what it feels like to get it from your broker to your PayPal to your bank. It's a real thing, and actually take that money and go do something. So I don't care if it's pay off a debt. I don't care if it's barely enough for, your mocha frappuccino, but do something that says my trading got me this. And even if it was your own money that you withdrew, like, that's how serious I am about handling your emotions and your psychology. So any questions on anything I've said so far? I know it's a lot, but thankfully it's recorded.
Yes, I have a question.
How can I help you, Derek?
You know, I you know, I'm really blessed with my income I have coming in, and that's because I busted my butt my whole life. And so it's like the withdrawals, I'm not really motivated to withdraw weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, and so I guess I gotta force myself to do it. You know what I mean? That's my challenge.
So wait, you're
I
saying,
just wanna I just wanna keep the money in there and just and let it grow because I'm blessed enough to have enough money to live off of, not unless I just do something foolishly and take off to Wisconsin like a month. I'll be okay. If I don't do that. So that's my challenge. It's like, take out the money for what? You know what I mean? I mean, I understand the logic behind it, but it's like, I don't know if I don't want to call it greed, but it's just, I just want my account to grow.
well, wait, because you have the money means you should be able to afford to do it though. So like, again, we all have to control our
Y-
mindset. So
Yes.
you have the money to afford the fees in and out. So you have it. Literally, just make a practice of it every 2 weeks. Again, go buy a
Yeah.
cup of coffee,
You're
or
right.
take your daughter to lunch, kind of thing. Even if it was the same $20 you put in there, Like, I
Yeah,
don't care. Just
I'll
do
give her.
that's worth it.
Yeah, I'll give her leather seats. You know.
Derek. Okay, and then we're gonna move forward. My brand new car, like I have not had this thing. Literally, I got it with 3 miles on it. They had to custom tint the windows, blah blah blah. I literally didn't even have 100 miles on it, and I got a flat tire in the sidewall.
Oh no.
I got a screw in the sidewall. I am so like, okay, you know what? Everything's working out for me. I'm so frustrated though. I had to so control my mind. No idea. All these cars for 6 months. We've been doing nothing but car shopping, trading in, buying one car to another state, one car in this state, and it's been nothing but heck, nothing.
Boy, do I know. But
Uh,
Sydney's happy.
right, Jeremy, I feel you. Oh my gosh, I know Sydney looks happy, so that's awesome. Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna stop this share. And yes, I can't recommend enough to do that. Now, last a couple of videos ago, I'm not sure which one, so please don't quote me on it, but some video ago, we found an error. So I don't know if it's on your guys' spreadsheet or if it was something I did, very possible that I did. I don't know if it's on everybody's, but it's very easy to fix. So this one is locked. This is the same one that I shared a screenshot of. This one was, oh, it's locked. I can't click on it. So I would have notes that are hidden, okay, in terms of what was happening in terms of the trade is taken. This is one that was actually completed. So there are spreadsheets where it does the how do you say the formula is right, but just in case yours is wrong, I want to show you how to fix it, and of course we can fix it and then send out another one. So this is the same one that was actually completed a handful of weeks ago. This one and then another one. The other one I only have a screenshot of because I didn't complete it. This is the one I'm at now. My trade manager didn't kick in and I was in too many trades. I took a nice hit. Not fun. And I got a ton this morning, so I don't know what that was on another small account, just a $400 balance. But I'm going to go to an empty one. These are just ones we plugged in to kind of get a feeling of. And then here's the original. So you'll notice that if you click right here, whoopsie, close this. If you click right here and it's not pulling the lot size from here, if it's not pulling these two boxes equal the formula, like something like, let's see, this one's fixed because this is like here. There we go. So you'll notice this is pulling the lot size from way over here. So please make sure that you fix that. And all you have to do is kind of go up until you find the one that does work. Okay. Close that. This one does work. This one does work. This one does work. This one. There we go. So I'm going to go back to this one. I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy this. So again, I don't know if that was on all the ones or if I just fixed that other one. I'm going to go like this, right click, hit paste. Okay, I'm going to right click and close all this, delete, oopsie, this, leave that blank. And then there you go. So once you have this filled in, you'll kind of have a really good idea, but that's how you fix it. And that's how you'll know if your spreadsheet is working or not working. So that'll give you kind of everything you need. These are just different ones. Go ahead.
How did it get messed up?
I probably did it. I mean, I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure.
Well,
Oh,
wait, I know there was a coding. I know that on the original version, there was a mistake, and I think some of them got fixed. So there's so many versions of so many things going around. I can't promise if this was my mistake or somebody else's mistake. I don't know, and I'll take ownership of it because just knowing me, come on, I click around. That's why the stuff that's personal to me, I either have to lock it or keep it off screen because when I'm clicking around and talking to a million people, it's really easy to not know that you changed something or whatever. So there are versions that do work. Even if yours doesn't work, it's fine. This is what's possible. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. It just means if you had 100%, which we're not going to have 100%. So you
yeah.
have the option of like just taking off certain, you can take off certain, not include the losses. You can, do pools of trades. So this one is meant to be pools of 3 trades at 15 to pip take profits. You can do anything. So having said that, I'm going to come to this blank one and kind of just go over this. We do have other spreadsheets that are meant more for Forex that compound at a different rate, probably a little bit more effectively than this one does. This one just happens to work really well on indices. So it literally is a very pretty sheet that was created by Kat, actually, based off of the formula that my suggestion was. And that's only because I wanted to protect the margin. So in order to have, so anything with 500 to 1 or greater, and keep in mind, most brokers have 200 to 1 margin on indices, especially after you get past 1 or 10,000. Some brokers it's 20,000. We can't promise what that is, and I don't want to go into detail the differences of all that stuff. But needless to say, if you're going off of that little of a level of margin, you needed to make sure your lot size are not going to blow your account. So this is set up to be a 0.01 for every $200 in your account. And then there's a few hidden columns. And of course you can add, notes, which is what I do. And then once it's filled out, I'll hide it and lock it. And then have my own kind of personal information. But either way, the whole concept is a 0.01 for every $200. Now you should not, cannot, and would not be trading US 30 on just $200. I mean, German 30 is pushing it. NAS is better. Just know that you have to have enough margin in your account if you're going to be playing with this high fast, high risk, very, very quickly moving indice that has a high value. So it takes away all the margin in your account. You are trading leveraged money. So if you're going to stick with these indices, which are fast, I'm talking in minutes, you get hundreds of pips. That's what's possible. But just like that's possible, in minutes, you can lose hundreds of pips. So please know that with everything in you. And also know that this spreadsheet particularly is literally just 0.01 for every $200 compounded out. So again, even if you only hit, let's say 70%, and this takes you what? Some people it takes a week, some people it takes a couple of weeks, 6 figures, $62,000, $18,000 in a few weeks. A lot of people don't make that. Some doctors don't make that. So please don't think you need to have 100% accuracy to make any money. It's not the case. But with this high risk stuff, you definitely need to have really good accuracy, because anything more than 1, 2, and 3 losses, depending on your account size and pair you're trading, it's going to be too much. You're going to blow your account. So I did want to show you this. If you don't have access to this, or if the one in the group also has that miscalculation, just fix it. So I know that one of them did. I don't know if they all do, but that's the same one. We have a screenshot of it from months ago in the group. And then as we grow, that's it. So that's what I've got on that. Does anybody have any questions in terms of compounding?
Yes, Miss Jenny. Where do we find this?
Well,
I have a compounding one, but it looks a bit different. I think it's the Super Easy Million.
Okay, that one's good too.
Figure.
It's great. Yeah, that's mine too. But that's great for Forex. Like I love that one for Forex personally.
Okay.
This is in the group. I will maybe delete. Well, so I'll make a new one with just this one. That only has the one actual document. Also has the correct formula, and then
Okay.
we'll post it when it dynamically changes. Yeah. So that's what
you want me to post it? I think I just checked mine is okay.
So then it was a me error, guys. It's just from typing around and playing. So if hers is okay, yes, please do post it.
I think it was Barbara.
Barbara broke it. That's it. And guys, what I want you guys to see is this changes a lot. So watch the difference in 1 pip, remember, which is worth 10 pips of other things. The difference is huge. So 31, that's literally what we would call a 2 pip difference. Well, that's a 20 pips in compared to Forex pips. But that's a difference in 6 figures. So again, if we put this down to $200, okay, that's a difference in $200,000. So this is very, very fast. It's not impossible. It's not easy. So the last thing I'm going to say before I get off of the compounding is this. I'm going to go back to $400. 400 is my comfortable level for those who just private messaged me. 150 does work, but I'm telling you now, your odds of blowing it are very high. 200 is a little bit better. That's my personal opinion, but you have to start with where you are, and I can't control that. So last thing is this. If you have a $10,000 credit card, and if it gets paid off, you're saving 20% in interest, not to mention you freed up $230 a month, or whatever your personal situation is, and your account gets to 11,000, please withdraw. You've acquired the skill set that got you from here to here. And yes, it's mentally difficult to decide, oh no, if I withdraw, I'm not going to get here. I'm not going to get here. But I'm a firm believer that, prosper where you're planted. I'm a firm believer in when you're trusted with the little things, you'll be trusted with much. And we all fail at that, including myself. But please, for the love of God, withdraw here, because this is your level up level. And again, worst case scenario, you've now freed up $200 a month where you can afford to put in $200 a month, to load. And you've already, gained this skill set. Remember, no one can take your skill, but the brokers can definitely take your money. Okay. Once you got the skill set, no one can take that from you. But yes, you can blow your account.
And I think the important thing that you mentioned is getting rid of your debt. I think that people's reoccurring debt keeps them from investing.
It keeps you in a poverty mindset. So
yes, I think that's really the key.
It's bondage. So like one of my mentors would say that debt is bondage. Like we were never meant to live in bondage, in slavery, right? Debt is slavery. Debt is bond. Sorry to bring up a deep topic, but I won't stay on it long. But debt is bondage over your life. It's control. So please, please, please consider that. Oh, so that's just withdraw. I mean, that's it. Please withdraw. I mean, whatever level that is, you can always, reload. You freed up the money. If you need $50,000 for a down payment on the house, then that's where you withdraw. Don't have to get to some 6-figure level. Don't get to some level because this makes you feel special and warm and happy inside, and it's some number that you've never made more than 49,000 in a year. So you have to get to there because that's important to you. Don't do that. Be the person that says, I need exactly 27,000 to pay off my car note. Unless it has 0% interest, then that's fine. But if it doesn't, pay it off. The only smart debt is a house, in my opinion, because it's tangible. That's a different topic, but that's the message I've got for that. For the persons who are asking, what brokers do you use that have one? Don't scalp Desiree with 1,000-to-1 leverage on an indice, because most brokers don't let you have 1,000-to-1 leverage on an indice anyways. I only use Hugo's Way at this point for almost all my trading because I haven't been swing trading. So I haven't even really been using AFX much. I do have money there, but AFX is their biggest value is the fact that you can hold a trade with them, and I'm not holding any trades. So, I mean, yeah, the leverage is nice, but leverage changes once you hit to certain levels anyways. So my broker is mostly Hugo's Way. It's literally everything I'm doing lately is all on Hugo's Way, just so you know. And yes, it's 500-to-1, and actually for indices, it's less. Would it be okay with winning less per trade? Using smaller lot sizes, is it okay to let me be on a 1-to-300? So yes, if your broker is telling you 1-to-300, and I don't know what your broker is, odds are it's whatever it is. It's less than that if you're trading an indice. Just so we're on the same page, it's usually less. And of course, you can go half of this, and you can withdraw at 2,000. Maybe you live in a place where $2,000 a month is like the most comfortable income, and you have no debt. You're not looking to move forward. Then please do. I mean, I'm all about just comfortable living. I don't need a Birkin purse or whatever. What is that? Did I say it right or did I mess it up? I don't, a Birkin bag. I don't need that. I don't need a Maserati. My kids are going to scratch that. I'm going to scratch that car. So, I mean, there are some things I do want, but
Yeah.
it's not who I am. Like I'm pretty simple. And I'm more about freedom and paying it forward, making a difference. Because guys, money doesn't, you can't take it with you. I mean, you can have 100 Gucci belts. I mean, I have a few nice purses, but you don't need them. What are you going to do with them? Like, it doesn't matter, but making a difference in the world, that matters. That's lasting. So anyways,
You get used to your money anyway. Then what?
yeah, I know it's not what I didn't come from much. So when I say I didn't come from much, I mean it. And, definitely it has no value. I think integrity in class is usually more internal. So definitely more internal. So I'm going through the chat real quick before I go off of this and I go to my broker. Does anybody have any questions before I go to the actual screens?
Yeah, is there can you recommend a PIP calculator or something? I'm very new and I have been trying to follow, but I've gotten myself in a little pickle here that I haven't really learned how to gauge my pips and set my stop loss appropriately. And I've gotten myself to the point I haven't blown my account, but I've let some trades run. Like I let German 30 run this morning, got almost 200 negative. And now it's coming back, but I don't want to close it out at negative 60. So I really need to figure out something to manage, my stop loss and take profits. I know in this class, we'll learn how to read the charts and go by this MACD indicator, and that's what I'm hoping to learn.
Okay, so wait, there's more. I will go over that here in just a minute, and I'm sure Scott can chime in. And I want to, again, the purpose of today, I want to keep it as short as possible, so this recording is actually listenable. But the thing is the indicator is built to tell you everything you need. It doesn't give you this calculation. It can't give you this exact calculation. But this one's fairly easy. If you've got $800, you're never doing more than a 0.04. If you've got $2,000, you're never doing more than a 0.1. So this calculation is just, it's very, very easy. Now the Forex, on the other hand, it's a little different, but what we'll show you here in a second will give you all of that stuff that you're looking for.
Awesome.
Okay. Real quick, Miss Donna, will you please post the link in this chat, the Zoom chat for Hugo's Way, if you're there and you're not with Kaden? I will do. Thank you. And then repost it again in the group too, just so people have it. For everybody who just DM me and said what broker, I use Hugo's Way. And if possible, and if I could get all of you guys on board to use Hugo's Way, I would love that. I would love to be one of the first female traders that, you know, has this group of people who hit $1 billion or who hit $10 million. That all the people I work with hit 10 million. I think that would be quite the goal of mine. That's my next goal, is that my clients have withdrawn over $10 million. That would make me feel special and important. So if you currently use them and you're not affiliated with me, you can message them and give them my email address and give them the number. I think it's 1385, and they'll make sure you're linked with me. You get a slight rate. I get a few cents. It's not very much. I thought that I would do awesome with affiliate stuff, but it's not a lot. So, but it's something. Either way, the coolest part is that as we grow, like it's really awesome that you get to be part of something that's bigger than yourself. And I think that's pretty awesome. So the person who asked what pairs to trade with the $100, GBP USD, if you're going to try to scalp any GBP pair, if you're asking me. Renee, the Millionaire Next Door, are you talking about the book or the TV show? Because I've got 3 friends who were on that very short-lived NBC TV show.
It's a TV show?
It was a short TV show.
Oh,
no, it was.
What happened to it?
It was called Secret
Oh.
Millionaire. It was called Secret Millionaire. So what they did was you had this random person kind of come in and they just look like a regular person volunteering, right? And then they secretly blessed you with money. So either money, supplies, whatever. So it would go to families.
I need to be blessed.
The show is over. I found out too late.
It
Do you
didn't
hear me,
last.
Donna? Donna, I need to be blessed.
Uh-huh.
He's quiet today.
Hey, Jenny, you said you had
Why,
friends that
Eric?
were on that show?
I'm sorry.
You said you had friends that were on that show?
Yeah, I've got 3 friends.
Wow. That's
Wow.
awesome. I used to watch that show all the time.
The Secret Millionaire?
Oh, yeah. Love
Never
it.
heard of it.
Great show.
I
Yeah.
thought it was called something.
Yeah, I've got 3 friends. Actually, she was a good time friend of mine, and I'm in most of her books, because that was like the early parts of my stage days when I was like talking on a stage. And first time I ever spoke in front of people, I kid you not, I was wearing this little white blouse and black pants and these massively tall shoes. And I walked up there, I sweat so bad. Like I looked out in the lights. I kid you not, this is real. In front of 5,000 people, I literally had the microphone in one hand, and then I turned around. I turned around. I could not form a sentence. I was like pouring sweat. It was the worst, most awful moment. And then I got it together eventually. But it was awful. 5,000 people. And I was young. I was like, didn't know what to say. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
oh, no,
I think that's why they always do icebreakers, like at the beginning of a lot of different speeches, is just to give the speaker
break.
5 minutes to be like, oh, okay, let's talk about you guys. How are you doing? How's the crowd?
It does, because I'm on groups and I'm going to be on a call Friday, and the people are so boring and dry, so we have to do icebreakers, and it's just, it's just so funny how people can be so stiff.
Well, I'm not stiff, but that moment I was young, dumb, and scared out of my mind. Scared.
I feel the same way this week. My wife and I are supposed to get on Atlanta Live and give our testimonies, and I am called to evangelize, so I have no problem talking, but for some reason I am so nervous. And today is my birthday, so I'm going to do an
Happy birthday.
Happy
Yeah,
birthday.
I'm going to do an icebreaker and just go skydiving.
Oh, well, that's beyond
Oh,
icebreaker.
I was going to say, that is a little different.
And I'm scared. I'm scared to death of heights, but that'll take that anxiety away from Friday. So just going to go get her done.
Hey, Stan, will you please take a picture? Will you send a picture? Because that's on my bucket list. I want to go skydiving.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Okay, you have to.
will.
Like, if you can do it, that means I can do it, and I want to do it now.
Well, I am terrified of heights. So I was at Top Golf last night, and where you stand, it's like a
I know.
30-foot drop. It's a
Exactly.
30-foot drop with a net like 5 foot in front of you. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get up 17 or 14,000 feet here tomorrow. But at 23, I went and got a job to climb cell phone towers.
Woo!
When they put
You
me
got
on,
donkey
like
testicles.
380 foot high. So hey, you gotta face your fears. But whoever it was that says that I want to be blessed, you are already blessed. God's word says that we are blessed, and to paraphrase that, we're blessed beyond all the curses here.
You
We
right?
are in this world, but not of this world, and brought to this world to be a blessing and an encouragement and to overcome. So you are blessed. Finances don't give you that blessing. The anointing gives you that blessing, and you are called for a particular purpose. So get in your mindset. Joyce Meyer says, where the mind goes, the man always follows. And I came from very poor. Never had a car as we were young, walked everywhere. But who you hang around, you become like. And when you hang with God and his word, the sky's the limit. So that's why I'm going there today to fall from the sky.
Hey, amen. You're skydiving today?
Yes.
Amen.
You gave me goosebumps.
I'm gonna go fishing right after this with my nephew. Go out on the lake for about 4 hours, go fishing, and then we're going skydiving.
Oh my
Bless your heart.
It's a
Bless
good
You
your
got an
day.
exciting day today.
I know, right? That's a
And-
good day.
I've been on too many planes and choppers with the doors open in a war zone to never jump out. Almost fell out a few times.
Derek's like, if I'm going down, that plane better be around me.
I'm
Okay?
going down with the pilot. I'm going down with the pilot.
You guys are so bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
if I can chime in just for a moment.
Yeah, of
Yes.
course.
So I'm a former paratrooper, so I've had over 40 jumps at nighttime mostly. So
Oh, jumping at night? Oh, you got
so
donkey
the
testicles.
fear is real, right? Or that feeling of kind of being scared, that's a real feeling, but we need to embrace it and know that the God that's in us is greater than he that is in the world, right?
That's right.
And, and I've also had the opportunity to speak in front of thousands of people as well, Jenny. And I've had that nervousness and that sort of fear. But the thing is being prepared, right? So if we're prepared to jump out of an airplane, if we're prepared to speak in front of people, that takes away some of that fear, knowing that it's going to be okay. So preparation is key.
Everyone's not the legendary Robert Parrish, though,
That's awesome, guys. Okay, so happy birthday, Stan. I am going to keep going. I want to, like I said, we talk a lot and we hang out. So y'all will get to know that for those of you who are new. Real quick, I want to show you how we usually start our call is we look at structure. So I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to delete this indicator. Okay. Delete this one. Oh, I should have kept that one, whatever. I'm going to delete this one if I remember how, in theory. There we go. I want to show you guys, we always start our call looking at structure. So no matter what, we want to see kind of what's going on in the overall market. You can decide to go up as much as you want or as low as you want. When we're making all-time highs, we go to big time frames because we don't have any data that supports anything else. So we always start with this. For those of you who did not know that, now you do. That's where our starting point is. It's kind of our beginning, if you will, of what we're looking at and why we're looking at it. So we don't want to know where structure is. We want to know where the last, time price stopped was. And this is where we always start. We look at this before we make decisions off of this strategy or any other strategy. So if you want a tip and trick that's going to help you in other areas of your trading, create yourself some type of a template that is pretty structure based, as close to naked as possible. If it was just me, I would make this a little closer to naked because I've learned to see, where price stops, right? But for coaching purposes and class purposes, this is kind of handy dandy. It shows a little bit more information a little bit quicker, so it's effective. But this is where we always start. So just so you guys know, when you come to class and you see this on here, you'll see that, okay, we have this low, we see we breaking above a trend line. We definitely have some structure. And if we break this structure, we're looking for a buy. And then when we go to our actual template, now we know why we're looking for a buy or where our next target potentially is. So that's what you're going to see at the beginning of class is with any pair that we're trade, we're going to be doing something like this. So that's all that is. Now, moving forward, I already went over the indicators as requested by a couple people in the group. Now we're going to look at the original template. This was the original template. So this is the one that was ran through the uber expensive strategy tester that is massively complicated to use and takes forever to find your reports, but then is tested against multiple other strategies. It's tested against multiple timeframes, years, decades, pairs, da 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 da. And then it gives you these results. So that's what this strategy literally is. It's very high performing, very highly accurate strategy, period. So since then, we've added to, taken, well, we haven't really taken away anything. We just keep adding. People have, added the cloud. People have added Fibonacci. People have added structure, trend lines. We've got a whole bunch of people who see the market various ways. So you can feel welcome to add whatever it is you need to add to this to help you see this. But just so you know, plain as day, this is the strategy. This is it. This is my bar alert. It's in the group. Just so you guys know, it just gives you the ADR, the weekly, 4 weekly, 12 weekly, and then of course it gives you the spread. It also gives you pips, but I don't like that pip calculator because it adds numbers to it and then it just trips me up. It's bad enough that it adds so many numbers already because it's points, but I don't prefer that turned on. And then of course this is Info Plus, or one of the versions of that. I have them actually both on this chart. Most of these are available free in the marketplace. It's called Info. This one's not Info Plus actually.
Yeah, they just updated it recently.
Hmm. So this one's not. This one's a different one. This one is stats, I'm pretty sure. But they're all pretty comparable. They just give you the spread. They give you the high and low of the day. They give you, this is the high and low of the day. It gives you some information essentially. So that's all this is. This is the ADR high and low indicator because I use it as a target occasionally, and I'll pop up a time frame to show you what that looks like. Is like if we're taking a trade somewhere in here, because we retested the zero line on the MACD and we're breaking above here, let's say we take that, we know that a good target would be, okay, our ADR high. So that's, how I use this. We know that if we're coming near and we break below it, I'm looking for a retest of the ADR high. So that's kind of how I use this in general. I keep that on my chart, most charts, not all the time, but most of the time. So let's see. Next, ADX. The ADX I've seen used by various people, and for some reason, of all the oscillators out there, I never liked most of them. Most of them I felt like only taught the overbought, oversold. They only did the, this is when you're expecting the reversal or the turnaround. And I just didn't like that. Whereas this seemed to be more trend friendly. So this is just a fancy equation of moving averages if you want to know what this is exactly. And it's called the average directional movement indicator. I'll bring it up here. This is what it looks like. I believe it's under trend. I could be wrong. Yeah. So it's not under the oscillators. This one's actually under trend. So you guys know. And then I'll show you what my settings are. The one I definitely need is 25. You can opt to put the 20 and the 40 on there also, totally up to you. The 20 is good because if your buyers or sellers are not above the 20, you have no trade, is how a lot of people use that. But here are my settings. So I have it set at 10, slightly faster than standard. Colors, you guys know I use green and purple. Levels are 25. You can choose to add 20 and 40 as well for different reasons. We can go over that in another day in another class. So MACDs, literally the fancy dancy MACD, which we're going to get to in just a second, that's all this is literally two MACDs stacked on top of each other. Now, the purpose was to give you that kind of faster entry if we were on the 5-minute time frame, and then pop down to the 1-minute time frame. So when the conditions were met on the 5-minute time frame, we popped down to the 1-minute time frame and just took every buy we could, up to about 3 or 4, take a break, up to about 3 or 4, take a break, and that was it. So this was just really high volume, 10 pips in and out kind of trading. So that was the whole idea of it. The slow MACD is really nice if it's in the same direction. So that's this purple signal line. Okay, if the purple signal line is also in buyer's territory like it is here, every one of these entries, it's good. That's a good entry. That's a good entry. You're already in buyer's territory. And same thing for sells. So that's kind of how you're using that. It's very, very simple and self-explanatory. And you needed to see this. So when you see this other one and you're totally freaked out by the arrows and you're like, what does this do? And why is it doing it? You need to know that those arrows are only popping up because certain conditions are being met. That's all that's happening. It is not meant to be a predictive indicator. It's not meant to be leading or lagging or repainting. It's not meant to be, your end all be all, which I say a lot. But those arrows are simply telling you conditions have been met. Some condition that is part of the rules of this strategy So Scott decoding everything Jenny says has put those into an arrow. So my sentence is in an arrow essentially, if you want to think of it that way. It means some or all, depending on what your settings are, of the rules of this strategy are being met. So that would be something like the 3 has crossed the 50, which again, originally we were waiting for the 8 or the 9 more accurately to cross the 50, but we wanted something that wouldn't be as late, seeing how computers lag compared to real time. All indicators are lagging. Unless it's predictive, it's lagging. So because it's lagging, we wanted it to show up a little bit faster. So ultimately it's still, the 3 and the 9 crossing, both of them being crossed, but the arrow is programmed to be the 3 crossing the 50. So you have it in time, but you should still be looking for that. Now it's also programmed to where it's not going to give you arrows unless the bias is also in your favor. And what the bias means is the fast MACD is below the 0 line or above the 0 line. So see this really, really skinny, any mini 0 line. I'm going to make it big. Is right here. So if the fast MACD is not above or below and you get this crossover, we're not going to get an arrow because the bias is not in agreement. And what determined the bias was you needed to have at least one bar closed on the MACD histogram. So I'm going to say that again. You needed to have one bar closed on the MACD histogram. And I believe you also needed the 3 above the 50 to be considered in buying territory and vice versa for selling territory. So that's where
And
those
price above the 50.
and price. So price. So fast MACD needs to be above the 0. 3 and price needs to be above the 50 or vice versa for sell. So 3 and price needs to be below the 50 and fast MACD needs to be below the 0. So that's where you're getting your bias line. Now you'll notice that this is kind of spaced weird and that's just computer programming. So this little line gap was the reason why we're like, Scott, he had to fix it. He's like, that's not what it should look like. The 0 should be the same. And he fixed it. So that's why it's a little different, but it's the same 0 line. You just can't see that on this next version. So that's ultimately the entire strategy. So when you're getting, let's say we take this right here, I'm going to drop a line. It's happened somewhere in here and we'll zoom in to get a better view. Okay.
Mrs. Jenny, is those parameters that you just said, are they, can I find those written down anywhere? Typed up? I was trying to write it real quick, but didn't get it.
Yep. Okay, so the 3 and price below the 50 and the fast MACD below the 0 line for a sell. Well, I'm telling you where the arrows are coming from to be very specific of what this is referencing. And then the 3 and price both above the 50 and the fast MACD above the 0 line. That's where that's coming from. Well, that's one of the reasons we're getting arrows.
And that's the 3 MA and 50 MA?
Well, yeah, actually that's customizable, and we're going to get to that in a second. On that indicator, you can customize it to the SMA or the EMA, totally up to you. When this
only
was
for the
tested,
50.
but only for the 50. Yeah, that's correct. Only the 50.
By the way, I'm trying to stay engaged here. I left a message, but my internet is extremely unstable. We're in a new place tonight and or for the next month, and this is really poor. I need to fix this. So if you ask me a question and I'm not here, that's why. I'll be back.
Okay. Are you back in? You're not back in Arizona, are you?
No, we decided to stay another month up here.
Oh my goodness! Seriously, that's awesome.
Yep, serious. So we're trying some fall.
Okay, that's beautiful. It is beautiful up there. So, well, then I still am going to want to have a meeting with you about the ATM, though, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Awesome. Well, then let's get to this real quick. And Scott will try to answer where he can. And usually he's really, really interactive and will be available at some point. So we'll get to that. I'm going to explain this as simply as possible. And I want to sum it up. So this is, again, not so long people can't not listen to it. But ultimately, if we get an arrow, for example, right here, okay, we're not going to get it just yet. And that's exactly where that line is drawn. So I'm going to zoom in one more time just so we can kind of see. You still need price to make, if this is where we're getting that signal, you need price to cross below wherever that candle ended. So now that we have that there, I'm going to delete this off. Okay. So we need price to get below this. I'm so sorry, guys. That would be my mouse. So Derek would be right in this smack talk. He would definitely be right. If we got it in around here, we need price to get to below this before we're going to take it. And that's the same thing with the scanner. For anybody who's trying to use the scanner right now, it's pretty accurate. But if you're just taking it on demand and you're not waiting for price to go in the direction of where it's saying it's going to go, you are going to lose your trades. So most signals, and this is how I would trade. There are some people who do the whole limit orders. So when price reverses the opposite direction, more power to them. And I'm super glad it works for them. I don't trade that way, and I don't know much about trading that way accurately. So I'm not knocking it if that's your thing. But for this purpose and for the way I trade, I'm telling you, don't take any signals from me, the guy next door, from the signals group, from the scanner, or from these arrows that we're getting ready to go over if price does not make a lower low in the same direction. So that needs to be the ultimate kind of answer to what you're doing. So we got a signal somewhere in here where the arrow would be. Price
I
needs
do want to be clear about this. This right here is where you're going to get the signal, because the place that matters for the line of the 3 is the center of the candle. So that location right there is where you look at the 3 and the 50 there, but it's not. But by the time you get to this candle down there, then the 3 is below the 50.
Okay, just to give you an idea. Thank you, Scott. So wherever the arrow comes in, the point of this conversation is though, don't take it until you make a lower low, which does not happen over here. It's going to avoid some of these kind of maybe baby situations that just bounce around. It's going to avoid, and it's not going to be perfect. You will still get bad entries. Now, good rules will get you out of the bad entries quicker, but just so you guys know, that's kind of what you're looking for is when you get, so if we didn't have the arrows and we had to read this strategy by our own 2 eyes, what we would be looking for is, okay, so the 3 cross the 50 here, we've got confluence. Okay, we're below by 1 bar. At least 1 bar is closed below the 0. That's what this is right here, which means you see 2, because this one is not closed below if you don't see the second one appear yet. And of course, the EDX is in seller's territory, as in it has enough momentum. It's above the 2025 and the momentum is high. There we go. We've got an active signal, but we're still not going to take it all willy-nilly. If we really want to avoid this drawdown, which again, still is not going to be perfect. There's no perfection. Don't hold me to that, and I won't hold you to that. We're not taking that entry until here, okay? That's how we know this is a valid signal. And then I want to do one for the buy side if I can find one, and then I will go to the one with arrows. So I want to show you this without the arrows, okay? So somewhere in here, we're analyzing the trades, and I'm going to kind of be a little bit more conservative this time. We got the crossover here, but we probably don't even have an arrow-ish until here. Plus this is where we break above the 0 line. Here's our second line. So that this does not matter until, well, actually this might even be our first line. So this would be it. That's the actual rule. So this was, believe it or not, this is like programmably accurate. So that's the whole point of how this needs to be kind of understood is you're looking for 2 lines above. So technically that's here. So for the sake of conversation, I'm going to make sure we're being super accurate. So now when we analyze this trade, we're going to say, okay, the buyers are in control. We're above the momentum line is good. Okay, the slow MACD isn't quite above, but we're at least facing up. I like that. And we have at least 2 bars above. So 1 closed bar. There's no closed bar here. This is a closed bar. No closed bar here. This is a closed bar. So this is where you'd be entering. And again, now you have a valid signal. But what are you waiting for? You're waiting for a price to say, okay, it is going to go in this direction. You can opt to use fractals. You can opt to use a plethora of different things to decide. You can draw lines. This indicator, the custom indicator we're getting ready to discuss, does draw fractal lines, just so you guys know, and we'll go over that here in a moment. But you want it to break above. And until it breaks above, you are not entering. So that's when you're kind of entering. So this is as simple as you can be. Once you have an entry, or once you have where you're at, the whole purpose was to drop down to a smaller time frame, okay, and take all of the 3 and 9 crosses, okay, or all of the 50 retests, okay, back up in that direction, and then just keep doing it. That was the whole point. That is the whole point, and then there you go. So that's really all we're looking for in terms of this strategy. It's not overly complex. It's been mostly used during London, not by me, and New York, yes, by me. In terms of high success, Asian doesn't have a lot of volume for those of you who ask, This is meant to be high risk pairs if you're looking to close out with enough pips. And then, of course, last but not least, if you're trading off of ATR value, or you're more likely to get, success or have success going for less pips on slower moving pairs, but you have to know how to calculate properly, or please just skip them, because then your calculations are going to be so far off that you're going to be all over the place, and that's just a mess that no one wants to be in. So does anybody have any questions in terms of the strategy itself before we get to the fancy dancy crazy arrows?
When you say take above the 50, are you saying take a trade on all of these that close above the 50?
Yeah, so it closed above the 50, right? The three closed above the 50. Well, remember, we were on the next higher time frame, but we closed above the 50.
Mm-hmm.
The fast MACD was an agreement, right? So we're simply looking for a trade. And once we have the confluence that says, okay, now we are officially allowed to trade, we're still waiting for a candle to give us a higher high. So just because we get the information to say buy, we still want a candle to close above that. We want a candle to break above that more accurately. So once you have the confirmed rules met, I'm trying to use my words really, really gently and specifically. Once your confirmed rules are met, now you're waiting for price to move in that direction. So I'm going to say that one more time. Once your confirmed rules are met, now you're waiting for price to move in that direction.
Do you need to check the higher time frame and move down to a lower one?
So we're going to get to the multiple time frame thing a little bit more specifically in a second, but
okay.
Ultimately, you can use this as a multi-time frame strategy. You can use it as a single time frame strategy. It is up to you in general. I like it as both. So you can work this up and you can work it down. And I want to honor the newbies as much as I do the people who have been around. So an option you have is, let's say that you've been with the group for a while. Please ignore what I'm going to say if you're brand new. But let's say you've been with the group for a while, you understand the strategy, and you're busting it out. You're taking 1 minute entries. You have an option of going, okay, I got my entry on the 1 minute, my profit is protected. I'm going to move to the 5 minute. I'm going to wait till conditions are met, take an entry on the 5 minute. Okay, my profit is protected. I'm going to move to the 15 minute. Okay, my profit is protected, and so on. Like, so you don't have to go look for 50 trades. You can honor the same trade and just tear it up. So that's an option. Another option, if you're brand new, is I would have you start like on the 5 minute, for example, and then when conditions are met, drop down to the smaller time frame below and work your way backwards the opposite way. And what I mean by that is you're only taking entries that are in agreement with the 5 minutes. So, for example, this isn't going to show well on this chart, but for example, see how this is all pretty much like an up move?
Yeah.
Well, the next higher time frame 50 is somewhere on here, which I'm going to show you on this next chart. But that means every time you got a signal to sell, you would ignore it because it's against the next higher time frame 50. You would take the buy. You would take the buy. You would take the buy. You would get to ignore all this. You would take the buy. You would take the buy. So if you're brand new, I would have you work down, not up. If you're more seasoned and understand, I would have you work up and just keep knocking it out.
Can you use Elliott waves and just look for the 3 and 5 waves? Let's say you're trading the 1 minute, just look for the waves to catch the bigger move or something like that.
Yeah. So the waves, I'm believe it or not, for all the silly theories out there, I like the wave theory as one of the better ones. I actually like it primarily because I see it well.
Yeah, because I always, when I go for longer trades, I always catch the 5th and 3rd wave quite easy. So I know, okay, I can stay for, instead of just getting 10 pips, I know I can get like 20, 30 pips out of this on the 1 minute.
Yes. So I like the 3rd wave and the second. Well, obviously the first wave isn't tradable if you're following the rules, but I catch that 3rd wave quite well myself. Yes, you can use that. So if you have a theory that you like and that you use, such as, the Elliott wave theory, just simply ignore the signals you're getting in the opposite direction. So if your Elliott wave theory setup is telling you, okay, you're waiting for this buy, as a continuation, as a 3rd wave, then only take the buys, that you pop up. And now if you're more seasoned again, and you know what Elliott wave theory is, and you know that this is your pullback, take the quick pullback, sell, and then of course take every buy after that. So like give yourself rules that say, hey, I will take one buy, just one,
Okay.
And then I'm walking, or vice versa. So that's how I would do it personally. But your rules have to be duplicatable, and then you have to follow them for long enough to see if they work.
Okay, so what setup? Because I'm trading the 1 minute. I don't know. I like fast money, and I don't really got too much patience. So what set of rules would you recommend to trade the 1 minute?
On the 1 minute, I like German 30 and US 30 on the 1 minute. I love German 30 and US 30 on the 1 minute. Like I love it a lot.
Okay, and just go for 10 pips, or
Um, well, you can, it's good for about 10 to 15 on German 30, German 30 and US 30, but yeah, but you have to decide. So protecting it is a problem. So we've talked about this before. Overprotecting means oftentimes you close with a handful of pips and you've pretty much got 20, winning trades that are just above break even. It feels like you've been spinning your wheels. Now, not protecting means you have to be able to swallow the loss. You can't freak out. The losses hurt and they're not going to be fun. So you have to decide who you are mentally and then make that decision. If it was me, I would say I want a little bit. 10 is good, and then you don't have to worry about protecting. If you're going to go for more than 10 or 15, I think you have to decide to protect personally. I would want to decide to protect the trade and say I'm going to protect at this much, and I'm gonna go for more. That's how I would
okay.
do it.
Yeah, because I'm kind of struggling with that because when I trade in 1 minute, I can spot 10 pips easy. Like I don't have any problem with that. I only have problems when I try to hold the trade. I'll try to count the waves, but I just end up wasting my time sometimes. But when I go for 10 pips, I can make like 5 trades, get them all in, and just leave.
Oh, then do that. Then if you know that's your strength and that's who you are, then do that, please. So decide that you're going to go for 10 pips, even if the market gave 1,000, you're going to go for 10, and you're going to keep doing that for however long, and go get me 50 trades and we'll analyze them together.
Okay,
Go do the
absolutely.
same thing 50 times and then we'll go over them.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, I'll definitely try
Do
that.
you
Thank you.
usually trade indices?
To be honest, I don't like indices. I'll trade the GDP pairs because
Okay, that's
indices
fine.
is
I'm just you got to be careful talking 10 pips when you move into indices. So as
uh,
long as you're trading currency pairs, 10 pips, fine.
yeah.
That's what I
I'm
was
with
about
you.
to say.
I tried the NOS 100, but I didn't like it. It was too choppy, too unpredictable. But when you trade the GDP pairs, it's a little bit the accuracy is much better, to be honest. When I trade the GDP pair, so I usually trade GDP USD, and the accuracy is much better when I trade those.
Nice. Okay. Okay, guys. So if that's all we've got, so remember, we're going to start the calls going over structure. This is the original strategy. And last but not least, let's go ahead and go here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this cloud. Okay. This was added. I don't know if I love it. It definitely has a value. I don't know if it has a value for me. So if you love it, no hard feelings. It's okay. But I took it off for the sake of the conversation of this call. So I'm going to try to zoom this in and get a little bit cleaner. You'll notice first and foremost, I have two entirely different MACDs on here. So this version 13 has been programmed to where literally, please don't tell me I'm talking on my, okay, we got it. Literally this next higher time frame MACD is the entire MACD, okay, for the next higher time frame. So this MACD is pulling data from the 30-minute chart. So that means the histogram part, the bias part, and the arrows are all coming from the 30 minutes. So these signals are 30-minute signals. The histogram is 30 minutes. The slow MACD is 30 minutes. And that's how this whole thing is set up. Now this one is set up to be the current time frame. So this is literally, so for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to stop letting my mouse go crazy. I'm going to minimize this real tiny, get it up out of our way. Okay. There we go. And now we're going to just discuss the actual strategy. So you can decide if you want this on. For some people, it's too much noise. If it is, take it off. You have to decide who you are because I can't trade for you. I can just help you learn to see things in a way that hopefully works for you. And that's my agenda. That's my goal. That's why I'm here. So is to
Right now, pay no attention to this. That's for the one that's hiding at the moment. I fixed that. Version 14 is going to take care of that. I've added some other features on version 14.
Hey, Scott, real quick, since we're on that topic, sorry, guys. This right here tends to overlay with this, especially like if I'm doing multiple shares, this tends to block this. So does version 14 fix that? Like, is it placed in a way that does it recalibrate in terms of size well? So like right now, it does not recalibrate. So if I shrink this to be multiple screens, this will cover like here can't, the data is unreadable. So
There
before you,
is a font size setting in your properties.
but it won't like self-adjust based off of the size
No,
of
it
the
does not self-adjust based off of size.
Okay.
I could
before
look
you
at
release-
seeing what it would take to do that, but right now it doesn't.
before you release 14, try using multiple charts and then you'll see, or I can take pictures because right now I have it next to this screen and it's like, this is laying on top of this. So all three numbers. So all of this is kind of on one little chunk right here.
Yeah, just got to move that guy.
This guy. Hold on. I don't even have that guy in the other chart.
By the way, the rapper is doing well. The
Mm-hmm.
pie.
Okay, so real quick, let's go over the arrows. So this is the current time frame. So we're going to only go over the settings for the current time frame today for the sake of first off time and for the sake of understanding. And you'll know how to get the next higher time frame because we will go over that very, very last. But this is the chart setup. The arrows, remember, are only telling you certain conditions have been met. It doesn't mean you should take it or not take it. It's still up to you. Number one. Number two, it needs to meet your rules. Number three, you still need the rest of the data. So there are not a lot of fake paints. I don't know what a better word to say. There's not a lot of inaccurate ones, but there are some computer brain stuff that is technically accurate, but isn't accurate to the human eye. So I don't see one currently, but something like, the candle closes below the 50, but then pops back up. You might get a false arrow. So being able to read the arrows and know what it's telling you and still follow rules is important. Now that doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So when you get the arrow, you still need to have a list of rules on your desk that say, are my conditions met or are my conditions not met? If you want to be a profitable trader, that's your due diligence. It's very, very simple. So for those of you who have not experienced that, then I promise you will. There's that. So real quick, all we're really looking for is, again, the fast MACD is above the 0, the 3 is above the 50, okay? And we're looking for that next high. That's all we're doing. And we're taking that. Okay, so here we're taking this. Now, not all of them are going to be winners. That's why we protect. That's why we make decisions that are okay. How can we get the best out of this? Oopsie. Okay. Sorry. Let me click on this real quick. Gotcha. Okay. So that's really it. So the first thing we're going to do is go over the settings. So for the person who asked about lot size, I think that would be, it might be a bit much. We'll go over it as quick as possible. But that is included in this too, especially if you're using something like ATR. So let me get this on screen real quick. I'll bring it over here. Got to make it a little bit smaller, a lot bit smaller actually. So remember, if you need the code, all you're doing is typing in your email, making sure DLL imports is checked, and then you hit OK. That's it. So now that that's done, okay, this is how we're getting the current time frame indicator. This is it. This is all we're doing is we hit current. You guys know my colors. You know that I use EMA. Font size messages, I guess, for the sake of conversation, I'm going to change that. So show trade bias statement. That's that center line to show you if we're in neutral territory, buyer's territory, or seller's territory. Show trade bias history. Well, that's the stuff in the back. So, well, this is the sentence. And then this is the center line. So that's what those two are. Again, the colors. So I'm going to go down. Okay, let's see. Show trade trigger arrows true. So this is your, do I want arrows as part of my indicator? You don't have to have them on there. If it's tripping you up and it's messing you up, take them off until you understand. And then you can add them on one at a time. You can add them all on. You can take some off. You have about 1 billion options because Scott's brain works in like 1 billion ways. So this has a lot of options. So this is all your alerts to get to your phone or to your MT4 pop-up or an email for text, or of course to the MT4 on your phone. So totally up to you which one of those you have set. I do have some set, just not on this broker. So moving right along, my trade arrow is size 3. Now here we go. Filter the 3 and 9 and the 50 triggers with the fast MACD. So if you don't want it to be so filtered and you want it faster, this is what you would need to turn off. This would, because for some people are like, why didn't I get an arrow? This happened back here. It's because we're filtering it to where when all the conditions are met, you get an arrow. If the conditions are not met, you're not getting your arrows. This is protecting you. This is comparable to the cloud. The whole system is trying to keep you out of bad trades. Consider this to be your, I'm staying out of bad trades. Now, yes, is it later? Absolutely. But the purpose of this is to keep you out of the false ones. It's still not perfect. It's just a little bit of a help. So here we go, show MACD. So show triggers for the 3 and the 50. Currently, I have most of these turned off. The one that I use the most is pretty simple. Show the trade, this one right here. Let me turn this one off too. Okay. Is all of these I have turned off, but this one, because this is the actual signal. This is the data we actually need. This is everything is happening. Now, the rest of these are, this was considered to be a re-entry, and this is considered to be a re-entry. So when things are, when you're above the 50 and we come back down and we retest the MACD, this is an entry. When we get a 3 and 9 cross above the 50, so that's like where price pulls back, this is considered to be a re-entry. So I've taken all those off. Those are great for those of you guys who understand the strategy, they know how to track a pair, go in, get your first entry, get knocked out with 10 pips. Jonas, this would be special for you. If you already have your Elliott wave, turn just these two on and only take the ones in the right direction, go for a small amount of pips. This is what you would be doing. Okay, that's it. Those would be those re-entries. And then of course the slow MACD is kind of the whole master trend. So that's really nice to have on there because it's the actual trend. It's just like being above the 50. So it's very powerful. I like that one too. But for the sake of just really cleaning up the arrows, this is what we've got. Fractals, as you guys know, I'm big on fractals. We don't necessarily take fractal breaks as this strategy because it's a really small time frame. But it's really nice to see what the fractals are without having to have the mess on your chart. So this will show you basically a small thin line of where the fractals are. And you can even be notified of when one forms, people trade that way. And when one is broken, people trade that way. Just to kind of give you an idea of what that is. ADX is set to me because you guys know I use momentum to stay in or get out of a trade. So it's really useful information. And I know this is a lot, but I promise you, if you're willing to take your time on this indicator, and Scott's pretty hardcore, he's like, nope, I'm not explaining nothing. They need to play with it. And that's okay. That's who he is. But I'm going to explain a little bit. So all this stuff is really, really helpful. It's a lot and it's overwhelming, but I promise you, once you get it, you get it. And we didn't always have the line on there. Now you have the option to have it on there if you want to just keep the momentum line, which is this white line right here, if you can see. And it's programmed to where the 0 line, the 25 line, or whatever I have it set to, is equal to the 0 line. So now you can see if your momentum is high enough or not. It just keeps you, again, in and out of bad trades. It's just another little filter. So up to you on how you use this. If you want to use this and if you need to take it off, totally acceptable. We get it. Show the warnings. Yes, we definitely want the warnings. So we'll get to the warnings here in a second. Risk management. So basically this is going to give you a couple of dots. And for the sake of conversation, I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to go to true. Okay. I have it set pretty small. This is going to give you some dots of where you can put your take profit. So this is going to show you really good risk to reward. This is going to show you kind of what your options are. So I'm going to go ATR, periods used to calculate ATR is 10. I'm going to scroll down. So multiply this for the take profit. So 3 times the ATR will be my take profit. So we're going to keep that at 3.5. Okay. I multiply this for stop loss 1.5. The amount of that we're going to, so multiply this by ATR for profit lock. So this would be like when you would either protect your profit and trim some out. Okay. Or depending on what management you're using, this is really nice. You'll notice that most of the time this hits and it hits pretty well. This will help you determine the lot size. We're going to ignore all the stuff with pips and points because we're only using ATR right now. Wait. So points. So this will basically include the spread at the time of open. If you keep this set at 0, so the spread will already be calculated into this, kind of nice and fancy and handy dandy. Show estimated lot size, true. Percentage of growth per trade. So this would be going like 11% based off of the take profit, right, Scott? I don't know if Scott's there, but it's 11% based off of the take profit. I'm pretty sure that's right. He's kind of in and out right now. So use equity. So if you want to use not just your actual balance, but you want to use the equity, you can definitely do that too. Because remember, account balance is great, but if you have open trades, it's not really that valuable to go off of the actual account balance. What actually matters is your equity. So how much equity you have left. This will really limit your lot size. Number of digits in lot size, usually 2. Let's see, going down. Now we have our warnings. So remember, this is built in with 3 different warnings. Number 1 is ADX. So if the momentum is low, it's going to tell you ADX warning, maybe consider staying out. It's not, doesn't mean you have to stay out. It just is a look at me to consider not taking that trade. And then ATR. So basically it's saying it's not moving enough to justify paying for the spread. So what that's saying is the ATR by the spread is it's not enough movement to justify that. And then last but not least is you're going to get a little indicator that says IN, which basically is saying the moving averages and price is between the 2 fractals. It kind of is a really good indication that you're in a consolidation. So you should not be taking a trade. And that's literally all this thing does. So now when I hit OK, you're going to see some dots on the screen to show you potential how do you say, potential stop losses and take profits and all the other good stuff. And there you go. So if we take this trade based off of this arrow, this would be our lock profit. It hit take profit. If we take this trade based off of this arrow, okay, this would be our lock profit. This is our take profit, and so on. So you're going to see that most of the time they win. I don't know about every single arrow. Again, you have to know how to filter your trades and know when not to trade against structure, which you'll learn about further as we hang out and spend more time together. But that's really it. So this lot size is based off of, granted, this is German 30, so it's going to be pretty hefty. Let's go to a different pair just out of curiosity. Let's go to GBP USD. That's even bigger, huh? But that's based off of the ATR, right? And it's based off of the percentage per trade. So you can lower that, you can increase that, you can go off of 5%. But those are all options you have. And that's really the basis. At least I think that's mostly enough for today. So if there's any major questions you have today, let's get those answered real quick. And if not, this is plenty long enough for people to watch and kind of get at least a foundation of what we're doing.
Hello, Jenny. I got a question. This is Dervin Brown. I'm at work, so I've been in and out in the class. Is this class gonna be like recorded for later viewing? Because this is a lot of information I kind of missed.
Yes, it does. It's recorded. So usually we're trying to take trades around here, but most of the move already happened anyhow. And there's a lot of new people. So I wanted to honor them and really slow up, explain the strategy, explain the indicator, explain the settings, and give them at least a foundation. Okay. Because I promise you, first off, this works. This strategy truly works. Secondly, as you add a little bit to it and help the way your eyes see it, it literally gives you everything. It gives you risk management. It gives you don't enter warnings. It gives you biased for what direction the pair is going. I mean, it gives you everything. Somebody had messaged Scott and said that this was the most valuable indicator they had ever or something like that. And it literally is. It's pretty powerful. So everything we just said is recorded. It took me a minute to get it recording, and no, this isn't everything, but I think it's a good enough start for anybody who's brand new and has never traded this system, never traded this. And there's months and months and months and bajillion hours of classes, but something that where they can start at and get an idea. So, okay.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
You are welcome. Real quick to answer the person who said, what is the indicator, the next lower one? The only difference is next to higher time frame and current. That's all. Just so you know, everything else is the same.
Jenny, I just set all my parameters as you were going through there, but I'm not seeing exactly what's on your chart. Are there additional indicators like the ADX down there? I guess that's
so
ADX.
Nope, ADX comes standard on every MT4 and most of the trading platforms.
Okay, and then that second MACD.
I just dragged and dropped it twice. It's the same thing.
Okay, and you just set that one to a higher time frame.
The only difference in these two is I stopped showing the ADX on that one, and also so I can tell them apart to tell you the truth. And secondly, is this right here? It says next higher, and then it says current.
Okay. All right, and then how? I'm looking on my chart on the 5 minute right now. The little red line that is right around 12,900, and the green line that is up around 12,992. What are they indicating?
Those are fractals. So this is a fractal and this is a fractal.
Okay. And the fractals do exactly what? I mean, they give you a signal for.
So wait, fractals are a Bill Williams thing. Okay. I love them. I have an entire strategy built off of them. I've done very well with that strategy. A couple other people have too. It's really based off of a higher time frame though. But ultimately, when we're making lower, so if we break a fractal, you're going up. You know, when we form a fractal facing the other way, it's showing you the price is stopping. So like it just gives you it's added information. It's not necessary, and I want to keep this as simple as possible. Somebody's got an echo. I hear my voice. But I want to keep that kind of a little bit off of this conversation. It's just nice to have in terms of did we make a higher high or lower low?
Okay. Because I was trying to trade between the two of them based on a strategy that I heard in Uncle P's class, the tap tap and then reverse. And I've looked at the last couple and it looked like, if it taps twice at that top, it's typically going to reverse and go south and vice versa. But I just wanted to know exactly what they indicated.
Okay, so just so we're on the same page, anything that we discuss is, so Uncle P has different strategies, I have different strategies. So if I disagree with something, I am not in any way in conflict with him. He is a great trader and a great coach and an incredible man. So having said that, I don't know what he's referencing. He does not use this indicator. So his pink and orange or his lines, I think, are his zones. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Totally okay with that. But in terms of this indicator and these two lines, I would not advise some tap tap reverse thing. I would not do that between a fractal. So again, for the sake of conversation, let's pop on some fractals one more time. Like what that's saying is, when we get a fractal here, when we get a fractal here, that wouldn't even appear till 5 to 2 candles later. Okay. Yeah. So this Uncle P does not use this. So I don't know what you're referencing, but it's not the same, just so somebody else isn't confused. Now, if we did get a bounce off of this, I mean, I could see that being, overbought, oversold kind of mentality. I know people, again, who trade that way. But no. So try to keep that out of this, just for your peace of mind and everybody else who's listening. This is a no. That's a no. Okay, because it's not the same thing.
You want price to go above or below the fractal.
Yeah, you want price to be moving in a direction. If you're in between, you're actually getting this right here, which this isn't fair because this is a huge drop. So this one's a little biased in all fairness, but when you're inside of a zone, you're consolidating. You want to avoid that. Now, again, like Scott would say, there are people who do some, in the zone kind of, they bounce and take those things, but we don't want to, I don't want people to be confused. We don't want to do that. So we're not looking for a buy until you break a zone. We're not looking for a sell sometimes until you break out of a zone. So if you got a sell and we got a fractal here, we know that, okay, we're breaking out of this fractal. That's perfect. We broke another level. That's perfect. You've got really good confluence to know where you're going now, and you're really happy about it.
And then additionally, the red, yellow, and green dots, what are they telling us?
These are programmable to your preference. These are just some random numbers we plugged in. So these are programmable again to your preference, but they're potential stop loss, lock profit, take profit.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yep.
All right, good.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And one more question: how do I get that that ATR on my screen? And
right.
what does
which one?
ATR is what, average true range?
I've got 3 of those on here.
Oh.
I use that information quite heavily. ADR low, ADR high, ADR, ADR. These are all ADR based indicators. So all 3 of these are going to be in the chat of the We the People group. Please do your due diligence and look at the files. The only one you won't know what it is this one right here, because this one is called bar alert. This is called ADR, and I believe this one's called ATR value. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. Let's find out. ADR is what you're looking for, bar alert, and ATR value. Isaiah, no, we didn't trade today. And plus this move happened before even opening bell anyway, so we would have been chasing trades. We did not. We were just looking. But some people caught a lot of this. I caught some of this. I also took a loss on the way back up though, because one of them I was in class, so I didn't catch the close or protect. So Desiree, so how long does it take to get the key for the MACD? So like Scott said, make sure you click DLL imports and then don't type anything into the password box. And then you should get it in theory reasonably immediately. His system is effective to say the least.
It happens almost immediately. I accidentally got one.
Accidentally.
So did you check your junk email? Did you check your
No, what happened was I added it. I was doing the version 13 and I just kind of was like, oh, I'm gonna start adding stuff and then I'm gonna compare and contrast. And as soon as I hit okay, I went, dang it, I entered my email but not my license code. And sure enough, when I checked my email, it's like, hey, here's your license code. I'm like, no, I got one. I'm sorry.
Does it give you a brand new code?
Yeah, so it gave me a brand new one, I think.
It did the same thing to me just now.
Huh. Desiree, if you still haven't received it, check your junk, double check your email, make sure there's not a space before or a space after. Oftentimes it's a really simple user mistake. Lord knows I make them every single day of my life. And then I swear up and down that something's wrong, the whole world is ending, but usually it's a me issue. So make sure A, you have DLO imports checked. B, type in your email address, no spaces before, no spaces after. Make sure there's not a weird period or the at isn't wrong. D, hit OK. Okay. And so go to the password box, delete, delete, delete. Make sure there's nothing in there, not even a space on accident. And then hit OK. And you should get it. And it should, if it's not there, check your junk. You should get it. If not, we can message Scott. But for the most part, it's usually a user error. Not to say that it is, because I mean, sometimes there's just stuff wrong or email providers are crazy, but most of the time it is a user thing.
And make sure it's the same email that you signed up with.
Yes, that too. All right, I want to keep this really short, so I know I didn't go over the multiple time frame other MACD, and we didn't really discuss the next higher time frame 50. But for now, again, I want to give everybody just their best chance at being able to watch this and truly comprehend the strategy enough to say, hey, I can do this. I mean, and I know not immediately, but just enough to say, hey, I can do this. That's all. So does anybody have any fundamental foundational questions for me at all? I know we didn't take any trades. That's okay, because again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And even when we do sprint, sometimes it's a lot of fun, but it's nice to take a step back. So
I have a suggestion.
yes, sir.
For the newer people, sometimes less is more, because Jenny brain works as fast as the words that come out of her mouth.
Yeah, it does.
So sometimes it may be a little too much for you at first. So you may go in stages that may be advantageous for you. Just food for thought.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I'll take that as a compliment, me and my fast mouth.
It takes time. Nothing happens overnight.
Thank you, sir.
It takes a long time to see the charts, to learn the rhythms, and to just understand everything.
It does. And look, we're here to help you. Like, so for those of you, like there's a guy who sees Elliott Wave, another person puts the cloud on here. Some people use Fibonacci. Some things I love, some things I don't love. But ultimately, you can take something like this and you can strip it down to the bare bones. You can increase it to where it's like a mosaic work of art of nonsense on your screen. You can do whatever it takes, and we can help collaborate with you to help you see things for your eyes, for your personality, the best way for you. But that means working with you, kind of coming to class, show us your entries, work with us, hang out a little bit, and then we'll get to know you, and we'll say, okay, well, maybe this would improve your trading. This, little tip or trick actionable items only. You know, criticism is ridiculous, and
Yeah.
it's hard in life, but actionable items are beneficial. Actionable items we can change and improve on, those are helpful. So
Yeah. And I think know yourself and do you, because a lot of times people try to copy people who are successful, but it may not fit their who they are as a person.
I'm big.
Yeah.
I agree, Derek,
Yeah,
100%.
Mr. Pat said that too. He said find a pair that fits with your personality.
Yep. Do you, boo boo? Do you? Because guys, look, I've followed other traders too who I'm like, I don't see what they see. And even if I follow their rules, it's like I don't see their rules their way. So I'm not getting their results. So ultimately, let's take this and let's bear it down, let's strip it up, or whatever we got to do to make it to where you see it your way. But any other questions, comments? Tim, great suggestion. I'll make sure we get this in the pin post in the very, very top of that Google Drive. Because hopefully people will actually watch this. Hopefully.
Yes, Miss
We'll
Jenny.
see. Yes, sir.
Miss Jenny, I have a question.
How can I help you?
Hi, Miss Jenny. This is Deshaun from North Dakota.
Oh, hi. How are you out there in the far, far other way?
Yes, the very far extreme north.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's out. It's the way north. I'm sorry. I just got into the Zoom call. I was actually scalping the GDP Zen, the crazy GDP Zen on my own template. I just actually joined the group this morning. I just joined this morning and I clicked on the link. Because I was watching Uncle P's video last night. But I had a question. I joined the Zoom chat a little late, and I see the MACD. It looks like a customized indicator. How do I get that? Um, do I email support? Because I noticed you need to type in a license key to actually activate the settings. I'm sorry for my ignorance. I just joined the Zoom meeting like a minute ago. But I know it's not a regular looking MACD. It looks nice though. It looks nice.
Look, I'm going to talk this up until I'm blue in the face, because we've had a lot of people hit six figures with this. We've had a lot of people change their lives. So this is my strategy, Scott's brain, and a whole bunch of amazing people. And it's not just us. Like, we couldn't be here without the rest of us. So this is all of us. It is in the group. This video is a really good, we yap a lot, so please don't hold it against us. But this video is a great video to watch to find out how to get it, how to put your license in. But it is in the group. It's in the file section. Simply enter your email address, and once you enter your email address, you're going to get a password sent to your email. So you're going to hit allow DLL imports. You're going to enter your email address just like you would if you actually had the code, and then hit OK. So if you don't click on that password box at all, you should, in theory, get the code immediately. Most people do. There could be a user error, or there could be an issue with your email in terms of you not getting it. But then that code will work on this multi-time frame moving average. It'll also work on what we call the ATM. So it's a lot to learn, but today this is a good amount to kind of start with. So watch, this video will be posted as soon as possible. And then of course there's a ton of information in the pin post. And then come and hang out with us. Trading is fun, but it's kind of boring by yourself, even when you make a ton of money. Or when you lose a ton of money. So the whole point here is just to have a group of like-minded people coming together, hanging out, taking trades sometimes. Sometimes we'll just do this and we'll yap, and that's what we're doing here. So welcome to the team.
Oh, so they'll post a replay of the Zoom video in the channel like they do with Uncle P's classes. They post a replay of his videos too every week in the channel.
Sure.
Is that what they do?
Sure. Well, we've got a pin post. I mean, we don't have a perfect system. The only computer geniuses in here are not myself. So it's in a Google Drive, which is it works. It's not the most effective, but it does work. So.
Okay, so where do I input my email so I can get the license for the indicator? Where do I put that email? Where do I send my email?
Okay, so you don't have to send an email. So this just means go to the file section of the We the People group. And in there, you're going to find this indicator. Once you get this indicator, you're going to drag and drop it on your chart, just like you would any other indicator. And then you're going to enter your email address. And once you enter your email address,
just went against me. I should have protected that fucking trade.
Hey, we got a mouthy person. Somebody got lost in the trade.
Oh,
I should have protected the trade too. It's okay.
I
We-
apologize.
Frankie,
I hope
shame
it
on
wasn't.
you.
I hope it wasn't the
I
pastor
thought I
cursing.
was muted.
Frank,
Frankie bringing some real life to this Zoom call.
I just want
Oh, because
everyone.
I was literally up like almost 40 pips. I was up almost 40 pips. Everything was good. Everything was great. I wasn't. Only thing that was just bad is I just didn't protect it.
Hey, Frankie.
And I apologize. It won't happen again.
No, it's okay. I just want to mention how
Thank you for the
real,
lesson, Frankie. Thank you.
right? I want to mention how real your voice was, like how serious. And like,
Like it came through with so much anger. I'm like, oh.
and then when we called you out on it, your voice got so soft and like, I'm sorry.
His hand was caught in the cookie.
I normally have it
Frankie
on,
on the
but I
Zoom
didn't,
calls
though.
is a very different trader than Frankie when he's on his own.
And we just want you to know that was recorded.
And we'll be used against you. All right,
No,
guys.
we still love
Get to the
I just
bookmark.
looked at everything. I was like, wait, how many pips was I up and why didn't I protect it? I'm like, oh man. So nothing was wrong with the trade. It's just I just should have protected it.
Hey, wait.
Where is the Miss Jenny? Where is the that's funny. Where is the We the Join People link? Is that like the Telegram group you're referring to?
Yes.
That,
Yes, sir.
okay. Okay. I'm gonna have to find that.
And
Sorry.
Miss Donna will get you all sorted out. She'll
Okay.
post it in the group too. And once
Okay.
you're there,
The
you
same
get
place
it.
you got the link to join this chat.
Okay, I understand. All right. I got it.
Just don't get Frankie mad at you.
Oh, I understand.
And also, we bandy about the term pinned post fairly often, but up at the top of the We the People group, you'll see pinned message. You go into that, and then there are links inside of there to all sorts of things, including the Google Drive, which is sort of the repository of links to videos.
Gotcha. I understand. So it seems like the MACD, the customized MACD, that's like the gold standard of this template or for the scalping template. I think I like this group because psychologically I think I'm a scalper. I like scalping more than swing trading. So I know Uncle P's style is swing trading, but I headed over to this group because I like scalping more than I don't know. I'm a scatterbrain. I'm a scatterbrain, you know.
It's okay. Then you know what?
Yeah.
They went in and get out, and hey, just be as long as you're willing to take a loss. So this message goes to Frankie too. But
Yeah.
we get losses sometimes, and being able to process those and be like, you know what, I got this. And then okay, so what did I learn from this? I'm gonna protect my trade, and then that means when I protect my trade and it knocks me out, I'm still gonna be grateful that I protected my trade. Like that's the mindset that goes with that. It's a two-way street, guys. So.
And for everybody, this system is not just for scalping. It will work for swing trades as well.
Oh, well.
Now, is that on the higher time frames?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey,
Just
we'll
move it to a higher time frame.
We'll get into more options and more. So the duplicating both MACDs and then of course the next higher time frame 50 at another class. I just wanted to keep this in here simple enough to where like if the newbie person came and was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? This is so much information, that they felt okay about it. That's all. So we'll get into a little bit more in depth and obviously we're all going to evolve, including myself. So it's okay that we add or take away or whatever else we're doing, in the process, but this is the foundation. This is the must know information that you have to know to move forward. So that's what this call is for anybody who's still listening to the recording. Thank you all for coming to hang out. I am not going to ask for more questions at this point, but happy trading. And I hope you guys all have an amazing day. We will go live tonight for any newbie questions. For those of you who are still on and who have lasted these 2 whole hours with us, congratulations. You clearly have the patience of a saint. And please do not discuss this strategy or that MACD on tonight's call, but anything else. So if you want to talk about structure, the cloud, if you want to talk about Elliott wave theory, if you want to talk about Fibonacci, if you want to talk about the scanner or their simplicity, that is the place to do it. We've got some amazing things coming, and the scanner, guys, I'm going to say again, the scanner is doing pretty good. It's not a perfect system. So anybody who's looking for that in a mate or in a anything, it doesn't matter, in a Forex thing and a friend, Nothing is perfect in life, but this actually is really, really good. So we'll go over a little bit of that tonight on tonight's call, and I hope you guys all have an amazing day. Isaiah, we take trades usually, not all the time. Some days they just don't appear, or some days we get to, but most time we take trades in the morning, in New York session. Just so you know.
Jenny, what time is the meeting tonight?
8 p.m. Eastern time.
8 p.m. Okay. And then I just wanted to say,
Hello, Miss Jenny.
the gentleman said about his, he's a scalper. There is a free trading personality test that'll tell you if you're swing, scalp, or whatnot. You can find it on babypips.com. A lot of free information. It's really informational and a lot of education that you can take a bunch of tests and go through a lot of training sessions for free.
It is kind of a cool test. I've taken that a long time ago. I did take that.
Babypips.com.
Do you want to be in trades for 3 days, or you want to get in and get out?
Well, and also just to clarify, I think that having an arsenal of different kinds of systems, such as scalping or swinging, is a great idea. I mean, ideally, and also understanding that the market is it's temperamental and it's its own personality. So I love swing trading better. It just feels like more peace to my mind. However, right now, I don't love swing trading. It doesn't feel good. It's choppy. The swings are too swingy. The runs are too long. It's like a win, lose, win thing. And I am not loving it. So being able to be diverse is also, I think, important at the end of the day, ideally. I mean, in a perfect world, right?
Right. We need our toolbox, and you got to use the tools for the proper job.
Yes, sir. Okay. Hey, I want to keep this short enough. So thank you everyone who came and hang out. Thank you so much, Derek, Barbara, Donna, Stan, everybody else I'm not saying yet.
And Special K is back.
And Special K, come on, there's one person who she's constantly, and I can't get her name. Where is it on here? It's E something. Oh, there she is. E something is constantly paying it forward too. So thank you everybody who is talking and stepping up. Jonas, you guys make this evolve in a better way. So I cannot say thank you enough for you. Thank you, Frankie, even for your mouth. Thank you.
Wonderful call.
I apologize.
Frankie is super nice, honestly.
That's what it is.
Super nice and helpful.
The East Coast bad boy.
Hey, you already know we've all done that. We don't want to admit that we've thought that thought, but we have all thought that thought. None of us have not.
I don't know about you, but when I lose a trade, I go out and I feed the poor, and I give bread to ducks, things like that.
I thank you guys for laughing with me and helping my emotions, because you gotta swallow it and take the L and then keep going.
Hey, we're family. We're definitely family, so that worked. It's okay.
Yes, sir. All right. Happy trading, everyone. We'll talk to you guys tonight. Take care. God bless.
Thank you, Jenny.
Love you guys.
Jenny.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.